Saka versus Ronaldo went up on social media the other day on Sky Sports. They did a comparison of the first 210 appearances, with Saka getting 51 goals, Ronaldo getting 50. Saka has 49 assists, Ronaldo had 43. So combined goals and assists of 100 for Saka versus 93 of Ronaldo. Obviously, no one around this table expects Saka to go on and have the career of Ronaldo. However, Rio Ferdinand was comparing Saka and Phil Foden and has said he thinks Foden is the better footballer. What do you reckon, lads?
Do you want me to go?
Yes, I do.
Mate, I that one in particular wound me up so much. The Saka Foden thing, I think it's like comparing a kid who went to private school to a kid who grew up on a council estate. Because Phil Foden has eaten caviar for a few years. He's been rotated in and out of the best team on the planet. He gets to play with the best players in the world. Meanwhile, Bukayo Saka had to put Arsenal on his back and drag us from 8th place to being second in the league. Saka's played a lot of games at left back in the games you were talking about to get better numbers than Cristiano Ronaldo.
That actually makes those numbers even more impressive.
Yeah. Has Jacob just admitted that Arsenal was shit? Because that's what it sounded like.
They were.
I've just admitted that we were shit. And now we're at a point where at the start of this season, the bookies had us 4 favourites for the Champions League. And all of that is down to Bukayo Saka. I genuinely would put it that high.
Well, 100%. Well, not 100%.
Mate, him and Arteta?
Okay.
Honestly, I think, you could take anyone else out. You take him or Arteta out. We do not do what we've done in the past 5 years. No. Saka is an unbelievable footballer, and there is no reason he can't go to those Cristiano Ronaldo levels if he's managed properly. The one caveat I always give with Saka is the comparison that really frightens me is Raheem Sterling. Because Raheem Sterling wasn't those levels, but he was doing not far off numbers at that age. He was overplayed, and now Raheem Sterling's not even 30 years old and he looks ready for the MLS. So we've got to be careful how we manage Saka. But just based on those numbers alone, why can't he go to Ronaldo?
Do you think, and I'm speaking for Rio Ferdinand, I don't know what, but I think sometimes when you watch Phil Foden, there's a beauty of the way he plays the game. There's that like silky little touch, and he's got a very good football brain on him. And I think with Saka, he looks more of an efficient player who doesn't have quite as, it's not as pretty, but it's more effective. Do you know what I mean? For me,
I see enough pretty stuff, man. I see goals from outside the box.
I'm comparing him to Foden. I'm not saying he doesn't.
Yeah. But I think he does everything that Foden does as well. I think he can beat a man. Like he's got one of the best dribble success rates in Europe this season. By the way, this is a season where most people have said that he's been a bit off form, Saka, and I'll give you
included.
Yeah, mate, I have. Yeah. I've been watching this season. There have been times that he's looked frustrated.
We all felt he needed a rest.
Yeah, but in terms of goal contributions this season across Europe, Kylian Mbappe's got 37, Kane's got 36, Bellingham 28, Haaland 27, Salah 26. Just behind them, Bukayo Saka on 25.
I think you make a really good point about the where they've come from and who they're playing with, because for me that is one of the most biggest factors. Like, don't get me wrong, Arsenal have got a great team, but if Saka had been playing with Kevin De Bruyne for seasons, I think it wouldn't be as much of a conversation as what it is. I think, not that Foden isn't a great player, yes, but I just think that Saka would have kicked on so much having those balls in behind where you're strangling teams of possession in the way Man City does. Like the numbers Raheem Sterling did at City are a joke when you look at the level he really is on. So God knows what Saka would have.
And it's not just the service he would have received for the goals he might have scored. It's also the assists he might have got if he'd had an actual half-decent striker to aim crosses at. Yeah. You put Haaland inside a box with Saka to aim balls at him from the right-hand side. Think how many assists he gets as well. I think Saka could go to any level he wants to. And by the way, one thing that Arsenal really needs to think about, he signed a 4-year contract last summer. Next summer, he's going to have 2 years left. Next summer, we're going to be negotiating again. We need to stick some medals around his neck because right now, he's some of the hottest property in Europe.
Well, you just said just there, the beauty of how many assists he could be getting to Haaland. Mate, I see Saka going to City one day. And I know that now the way that the sort of competitiveness in the Premier League is... No, I'm being honest here. Like, look,
I'm sick again.
It might be shades of Arsenal from the past, but a lot of your best players were going there at one point. And I look at now, the way that the Premier League and the way that Arsenal have caught up with Man City, it maybe makes that less likely. But I see Saka getting a big move. I don't actually always see him staying at Arsenal. When we look at the importance and the impact to a team, right? And this is the comparison between Foden. If you take Foden out of that City team and you swap him for another member of the team that they've got, not someone hypothetically that could come in, just, Bernardo Silva or someone like that, do they still win the treble? I think there's a strong chance they do, you know?
Mate, they do.
If you take Saka out of the Arsenal team, who's the backup in there? Let's say you stuck Trossard
Reece
there.
Nelson.
Let's say you stuck Reece Nelson there. Do they come anywhere near achieving what they have done in the last couple of seasons? They come nowhere near. Absolutely nowhere near.
Can I ask you a question on that one then, Joey? Say 4 or 5 years ago, rather than Saka coming through our academy, it was Phil Foden. Does this Arsenal team climb to the place that we have? Could Foden have put this Arsenal team on his back and dragged us to where
It's the Steven Gerrard thing, isn't it? Of what he did for Liverpool.
Except Steven Gerrard, like, as great as a player as he was, were we ever talking about him as being one of the best in his positions in Europe? We were, but for Saka to be doing it at 22 years old, and as you say, he could go anywhere in the game.
I think Foden's importance would be elevated if he was in that Arsenal team, because I think that, you know, maybe not so much now that you've levelled up a lot and everyone can see that, but in the seasons gone by, I think that Foden would have looked a little bit more of a class above maybe what he had around him until the likes of Odegaard and the rest of them came. But does he put the team on his back, as you worded it, like Saka does? No, not for me, does
Foden get in the Arsenal team?
Yeah.
Over who?
Yeah,
over who?
Well, off the top of my head, does Foden get in the Arsenal team ahead of?
He wouldn't get in
like
over Odegaard. He wouldn't get in over Martinelli.
Did you get in over Kai Havertz? Because you doubled down on Kai Havertz, didn't you?
Yeah, I think he would get in ahead of Kai Havertz. Look, the way that we use Kai Havertz is really specific, and we use him for his physical size. So we wouldn't be able to use Foden in the same way. I think Foden's a good enough talent that he would get in this Arsenal team. Maybe ahead of Havertz, maybe ahead of Martinelli. The real thing for me, and look, none of us are massive fans of Gareth Southgate right now, but Saka's one of the first names on the England team sheet.
Yeah. He's the third name on the England team sheet for me.
Behind Bellingham,
behind Kane, Bellingham, Saka.
I think that's because of the functionality of what he brings to the team. It's not just the goals and assists; it's he does it all, right?
Yeah.
And if we're looking at the actual stats of this season, in terms of goals and assists in the Champions League, Foden has 4 goals and 3 assists, and Saka has 3 goals and 4 assists. So they're quite level there. In terms of Premier League, Saka has 12 goals and 7 assists, and Foden has 8 goals and 7 assists. So Saka is more the goal threat. I think that's the clear thing that we're seeing. But Foden's not far behind.
He's not far behind, and we should say that Foden maybe doesn't get the amount of chances that Saka does, because Saka does play slightly further forward and he's much more the focal point of our attack. We're literally built to give Saka the ball in good positions. I just look at the responsibility that Saka takes at the age that he is. And look, I hate saying it, Joey, but you are kind of right. If we don't put the right medals around his neck, Saka does have to look for a club like City. And by the way, he's perfect for Man City.
Oh, yeah.
In terms of the way he plays football, in terms of the way he collaborates, stop looking at me like that, man. It kills me.
The one good thing is I know who his dad supports, and it's Newcastle. So you're safe. He's not coming to Newcastle.
He's not getting in ahead of Almiron.
No, his whole, his dad supports him. The thing that sorry, where was I going?
Well, I was going to ask you. Do you, like as neutrals? Look, you all support Saka when he plays for England. I don't. He's one of those players people don't dislike him. Do you know what I mean? I think everyone knows he's a good kid. He's an A-star level student. He's a nice guy. Can you see him going to the level of a Ronaldo or a Messi in terms of like young wingers in modern football right now? It's hard to see anyone reaching the level that Messi and Ronaldo did at their peak. I think he's as good as anyone.
So you legit, because you've said a few times now the Ronaldo thing. I wouldn't mention Ronaldo, Messi, despite the numbers and the trajectory. I wouldn't mention Saka in the same sentence as them, because they had a little bit of X factor that I don't see in Saka yet. I don't see his ability in terms of a one man on a mission being able to destroy a team and carve a team open with so much ease that they showed in flashes. I've never seen him on that level ever. No. Whereas I think the level below that, when we look at other players from that era, let's take Neymar, Eden Hazard, Arjen Robben, players who were just below that, maybe. But even then, at his young age, I'll give him more of a shot at that than Foden, even though Foden at times has looked a bit more flashy and a bit more, he's done things that are, fucking hell, that's world class. But the difference with Foden is he picks and chooses his moments a little bit more than Saka. Saka is more dependable, more reliable, which is why I think Southgate picks him. Whereas Foden although this season he's done it, I think against Everton, that was one game where I was like, wow, you really took the fucking game by the scruff of the neck here and showed me you are that guy. But there's been times where I feel like, because he knows he can rely on the De Bruynes and the other players, he's the guy who scores the third or the fourth goal. Mm-hmm. He's not the one who takes command of a game in the way he did it. He did it against Everton, and he's done it a couple of times since then. But I'm still, whereas Saka is that guy pretty much every game.
He's a clutch player.
That's what I'm talking about.
He's a clutch player. And he scores a lot of first goals as well. Yeah. Not first goal, first assist. He breaks games open. Look, if I'm being really honest,
can you compare him to those players that I named? Like, is there anyone who in history you would look at and go, that's a guy who I think you can have a career comparable to?
The thing is with Ronaldo and Messi, I'm not sure anyone in Europe can reach that level. Ever. Because I think we might look back in 20 years' time and go, there was no one who superseded that, right?
Mate, I'm looking at Mbappe and fucking Haaland and think they won't touch those guys.
I look at a player like Hazard. I think Saka will reach that level.
Do you rate him at prime Bale level right now?
Right now, no. What was Bale doing at 22?
Bale didn't look as good at Saka at 22, no.
What was Mo Salah doing at 22?
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of players who weren't doing anything like this at 22. Like, Saka will still get better.
But then you can use a lot of examples of the guys that were doing it at 22, but then weren't doing it as late as the other guys.
Sure.
Not everyone's going to have that long. We used Raheem Sterling as an example earlier on.
Michael Owen.
I think Michael Owen. And the difference there is Michael Owen was hampered by injuries. I'm not saying Raheem Sterling hasn't had them, but I think that, forget Man City Sterling, I think that when Brendan Rodgers is playing Sterling left wing and he's tearing it up for Liverpool, I think we're looking at him and going, mate, what's he going to be like when he's 28? And I don't think we're looking at what he's like now.
Question about Eden Hazard, because you two watched him very closely. Can Saka match Eden Hazard?
In importance to a team, possibly, but he's never going to be looked at the way Eden Hazard is, because stylistically, the way they play the game, Eden Hazard's always going to draw more plaudits.
But in terms of goals and assists, trophies, like, what matters? Whether or not it's as nice on the eye, okay.
Definitely not trophies. Definitely not. Unless he gets a move. Definitely not.
Because Eden Hazard won how many Premier League?
2 Premier Leagues.
2, yeah.
Yeah.
Saka will win 2 Premier Leagues. You don't think Saka's going to win 2 Premier Leagues in his career?
City, he probably will, yeah.
I don't know if Arsenal win 2
Well,
Premier
regardless of where he wins them.
Yeah, okay. The class I put him, if you're asking me for the tiers, right? Ronaldo, Messi, I'm not even sure Mbappe ever reaches that level. So I can't sit here and say that Saka reaches that level. But the class we said about, where in my opinion, and obviously they don't all have the longevity, but in their peaks we go Bale, Hazard, maybe Ian Robben, Kevin De Bruyne. That level there, I think he's got a chance of breaking into that level in his career.
I think he's there already. Hazard got 85 Premier League goals in his career. Saka's already got 43. He's 22 years old.
That's pretty fucking unbelievable, yeah. That is undisputable. I can't argue with that.
And in terms
the ones I can potentially argue a little bit in terms of, like, stats are one thing, and I think Saka's going to have a great career in terms of stats, but like there's another gear that he needs to go through with age. That's like the unpredictable bit. Like when you had that face that you pulled when we said Gareth Bale was like a bit of a, I wouldn't say slow burner, but like we seen it kind of happen very, very quickly when it started to happen for him, where we were like, he's going through these gears now. And I feel like the gears that he went through at the end with Spurs and in the first season of Real Madrid, I've never seen Saka quite on that level yet. I think that Eden Hazard was at a higher level in his prime. We're not expecting him to be there. He's 22 years old. My question is just, do we see that Gareth Bale level, that Mo Salah level recently? It's so elite. If he can do that as an English footballer, I'll be blown away by him, because I'm not sure.
I think when I was watching games with Eden Hazard, like Eden Hazard would take the game by the scruff of the neck. And John Terry said about this recently, where he literally was just going, yeah, we know that he never trains, but I knew that when he got the ball and he was playing against whatever team it was, he literally, there was a quote recently where he just went, we were playing West Ham. He honestly didn't even know who the West Ham players were. Like he couldn't even name a West Ham player, Eden Hazard. He would just say, give me the ball and I will just destroy them. He literally said that at half time. And I know that Saka's got the stats. I know that Saka's got the stats, but and Bailey's a good example of this. I look at Bale and I think Galactico, I think Real Madrid, I think that kind of level, like the David Beckhams, like the superstar talent, right? And maybe this is something about Saka's personality that he isn't kind of that guy, he's a bit more reserved, a bit shy. And I know he's got the stats to back it up, but I think to go to that next level and to be in the group that we're saying, the Bales, the Hazards, the Neymars, the Mbappes, I think he's got to then sort of have a level even above that.
Can I kind of get piggyback on that? Is there was moments, and when Gareth Bale ran from the halfway line for Real Madrid and destroyed, was it Atletico Madrid or Barcelona?
Inter Milan against Maicon.
Not in the cup.
That was when he came out.
All right, sorry.
Inter Milan.
Inter Milan was his coming out party. Then when he went to the big stage, he was hitting the overhead kicks in the Champions League final. He was doing big things in big moments that define you as a footballer. And I think for Saka to be grouped in that, as much as I currently would pick him above Foden because of that consistency and reliability, he needs to have big moments in big games where he wins cups or he decides the fate of a trophy on his own to put himself in that group. And because he's only 22, we've just not seen it yet. I think it's possible.
You need to see yourself in that way as well. Like, I'm not saying the mentality of seeing yourself like this is the be all and end all, but I tell you one thing, did Eden Hazard think he is a superstar? Yeah. Did Bale during that moment think he's a superstar? I don't know whether Saka's mentality this moment in time is that same level of I truly believe, regardless of where Messi and Ronaldo were at that time, I think there was a day you could have said to Gareth Bale, are you the best player in the world? And he'd have said, yeah.
Mate, Bellingham is above Saka right now already. But Bellingham is a superstar. They're using Bellingham's silhouette for the new Jordan logo. He's having his own brand. Like, he is a superstar already. Like, we're not seeing that from Saka. And look, maybe he does need to move club to do this, because ultimately the key thing, and we said this, is trophies. If you don't win trophies, you'll never be regarded in the same way that those other players do. No matter how many goals or assists you get, it's all about whether you win things.
You say that about the move, right? But if Arsenal do go and win the league this season, this conversation completely changes.
100%.
Because then there will be... If Arsenal go and win it, you can guarantee the key moments are probably there from Bukayo Saka. And then we look at things different. So this is a conversation that if Arsenal do go and win the league, maybe we get our answer a lot sooner than we're anticipating.
In Europe now, people are looking more favourably on Foden because Foden's won a Champions League and won everything that he possibly can, whereas Saka's won an FA Cup.
That's not his fault.
I think
you talk about moments. Like, which Foden moment won the Champions League?
I'm not saying that he does that, but I'm just saying that the trophy record, you know what it's like when you're thinking about Ballon d'Ors, best players, team of the season, that sort of thing. You won't get in that team of the season unless you're winning trophies. And that is a decision that Saka's going to have to make.
I think Foden is greatly benefiting from the players around him, and I still pick Saka over Foden.
I pick Saka as well, but I'm just saying, like, more widely at a European level, people will regard Foden at a higher level because he's won everything that he could be.
So are we all in agreement that if we had to pick one for our team, we'd all be picking Saka over Foden then?
I would personally,
I'd pick Saka over Foden.
But I wouldn't pick Saka over a young Ronaldo, I'll tell you that.
No, I think, as we said, it's hard to see anyone of the current game. And actually, you mentioned a name there who we maybe should consider, which is Jude Bellingham. Maybe he can reach the heights of a Ronaldo and a Messi. The Saka thing, in terms of him getting the medals around his neck, winning the trophies, having the big moments, I'm telling you now, it's coming. I'm telling you now, it's coming. He's in the Champions League this season. I can't wait for people around Europe to see what he can do, because I'm telling you, he's going to do it. We sat here a few weeks ago before Arsenal played Liverpool, and we said, if Arsenal are going to win the Premier League this season, someone needs to put a cape on their back and be the guy who scores enough goals, who makes the difference in big moments. Saka has done that literally every week since then. He can't stop scoring goals.
You said you can't wait for him in the Champions League. He's already doing it. Was he 7 goals and assists, 7 goal contributions in 5?
Yeah. He's done it in the group stage. Let's get to the knockouts now. Let's get to Tuesday, Wednesday night.
Not bad going.
No, mate. He's going to do it.
The question is if Arsenal don't manage to get their hands on one of those big trophies, how many years do you think before he goes to a Real Madrid or someone like that?
I think we got 3 years. He's 22 years old now. I think we've got 3 years to put medals around his neck. Otherwise,
he's going to look at Harry Kane thinking, that ain't going to be me, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's why he's not going to go to Bayern Munich. But I mean, it's so hard because as Arsenal fans, we've had this so much over the last sort of 10, 15 years. We watched it happen with Fabregas. We watched it happen with Van Persie, where players are at our club not winning enough and unfortunately have to go elsewhere. to put trophies in the mantelpiece. We have to do it with Bukayo Saka, because I look at Bukayo Saka, who could go to be in the same category as David Rocastle, as Ian Wright, as being like a young kid who came through. I know obviously Ian Wright came to us from Palace, but like he's an icon at Arsenal.
I know.
Like what I would hope that someone is saying to Bukayo right now is, we're going to buy the right players, put them around you and win the trophies. Your statue will be ready. You'll have a statue outside that stadium, because that is the level he can go to in terms of legacy with this club, because he's dragged us up. And I think as fans, we sympathise with him so much. Like what you were saying about like running a game, the way I kind of feel sorry for him. Like I think I read this stat out the other day. He's started more games for Arsenal than Ashley Cole did already. That's how many games he's had to play for us. He's got the record for the most amount of consecutive games he's had to play for the club. It's ridiculous. And what you watch with Saka now, next time you watch an Arsenal game, watch Saka. He rests within games. He has moments of brilliance, and Mo Salah does this for Liverpool as well, by the way. They rest within games and they pop up at the crucial moment. What I really hope we do is work out a way of sitting him down sometimes, making sure he doesn't have to play so many games, so that he can have that explosiveness of an Eden Hazard. Because exactly what you said, Josh, Eden Hazard, was he pulling up trees in training? No, he was eating kebabs and getting skin fades. But come Saturday afternoon, he would just run through a team. Yeah. Thierry Henry was exactly the same, by the way.
But these teams had strength and depth in a way that they could rest Hazard and look after him a bit, right?
It's what we need to do. We need to do.
One last point I would make about I get that he needs to have a certain level of like self-belief, but one thing I think will serve him well and better than Eden Hazard is his attitude. Ironically, as much as Eden Hazard gets credit for having I'm the best in the world attitude, it was ultimately his undoing. It was ultimately the thing that cut his career short by 6 years or something, or 5 years. And I do think Saka's attitude is really great.
Let me tell you about self-belief with Bukayo Saka. He missed a penalty on the biggest stage for England. He should have won us a trophy for the first time in over 50 years. He missed the penalty. First opportunity he got against Manchester United at the Emirates, we got a penalty. He picked up the ball, he put it in the back of the net. The kid doesn't lack self-belief. He's got it.